Would we perform a public,
Like
maybe state your name for the record,
Taxpayers with road ledges. What I wanted to do is spend just a second kind of reviewing a few things. And then get on to the topic right away. And the reason I thought I'd take a minute to review some things is because I believe most of you were not on the council when we actually started the meetings. It seems like, we had to ask. And Robert, didn't you come on during or right after? So I thought I'd just do a very quick review and then get to the topic at hand. The one that I wanted to, the thing that I wanted to talk the most about was the local agreement. And how it was set up and structured. And very quickly, it was signed in 07. It was a four-party agreement between Heber City, Wasatch County, Twin Creeks, and Red. And it really, the whole idea and intent behind it was to provide for the annexation of Red Ledges into Heber City, and then provide for water and sewer to be done through the And there were quite a few other items that were discussed and added to that as we went along. One of the very hot topics that came up during this time period was what the traffic impacts would be. And I think that is really the issue at hand today when we're talking about an extension of Bypass Road as well as this easement that we're ready to pass along to the city. So very quickly on the traffic side of things, there were many studies done, and Taxpayers was an engineer that we had hired, and they actually did a few different studies, and their main worst case scenario study was set up to, as you can see here, show a projected average daily trips down Center Street in the year 2030. They assumed a 6.7% growth rate and traffic growth rate and 100% primary homes in Red Ledges, which nobody ever thought we would reach that. But they wanted to come up with a very worst case scenario. That 6.7%, I'll note on here, is double the growth of Main Street over the previous 5 years at the point in time that they did this study. So it's a huge growth rate compared to what anything in actuality could happen. They took into account all proposed and future development, so it wasn't just Red Ledges, it was the East County, everything literally to the east of Red Ledges. And you can see the quote there, the likelihood of this scenario is extremely remote. They just did not believe that this would ever happen. Now there was also another study done. Originally, Mountain Land did a study, and they came up with what they felt was a fair 3.7% traffic growth rate. But they took the step of saying also 100% of private homes in Red Ledges, which again, every study that we have suggests that it will be at most a third, so about 33% primary, rest of the secondary. Both of these were done with a density of about 1,454 units. As of right now, our master plan has us approved for 1,210 units, so we're significantly less than this. Even using the worst case scenario that Taxpayers came up with, they stated that there is more than enough capacity for Red Ledges traffic within the city as it sat at the time. And there was even enough capacity for some county growth at the time based on certain upgrades. And I think one of those upgrades, if I remember correctly, was taking Center Street to a 3-lane or a 4-lane type of a road. And that would provide for, obviously, different amounts of traffic. And the given here is that the higher percentage of secondary homes ledges really means that Center Street will remain viable for a long, long period of time. One of the items that came up at the time as well was that the city and the county was pushing on the red ledges the responsibility for all of that future traffic. And that's how the bypass road idea came to be. And the thing that we pushed back on at that point in time was, well, if there's growth in the county, in the eastern county, that really should not be on the red ledges. And I think, to be fair, those developers in the future should contribute something towards traffic situations or traffic issues that come up in the future. But that never did come to fruition. So again, everything was basically put on red ledges. And so coming out of that interlocal agreement, we were signed the task to pay $1 million towards the upgrade of Center Street, which we did. That was completed back in March, maybe 2010. Somewhere
I can verify it's been paid.
2010, 2011, somewhere along those lines. The bypass road was required in spite of the engineer's statements against it, and in spite of the city plan to actually use Mill Road as the connector. If you look at all of the original traffic studies and traffic plans for the city, Mill Road was the road to pull traffic off of Center Street. And we were told that that didn't matter. We were required to pay half of the cost of a lot on Mill Road to allow the bypass road to connect into Mill Road. We were required to secure an easement across Stone Creek, in which we paid $1 million, and quite a few other items were given to Stone Creek to allow for the bypass road to cut across their property. And all of this reason, or all of the reasons behind this improvement, was for the better good of the community. And you know what, in the end, we recognized that that was the case. And wanting to be a good community partner, we signed on to that agreement. So we're going with it.
Mr. Cates?
Yes.
Could you tell me where was that easement across Stone Creek that you paid for? Was it on the east side, right by the proposed bypass road? Was it on the north side?
If you look at this, this is just a Google Maps printout that I did. I figured that'd be the easiest way to explain this. This profile where my mouse is running. Oh, you can't see it there.
Do you have that laser pointer?
I have a pointer, but it doesn't work on TV. Maybe I can just point it out.
Thank you. You should get a yardstick.
So this road right here is the bypass road. And you'll see it goes up and it starts to curve in just a little bit and it ends. And then there's a light line. Where that light line sits, that's the edge of the Stone Creek property. That's the northern edge of the Stone Creek property. So it's going basically from where that road ends, that dirt road ends, all the way over the road.
So it was just that north edge of Stone Creek that you paid the $1 million for
Correct.
on the easement.
Yes.
And that is deeded to you, right? Or no, it's
That
deeded to
is
the city.
recorded as an easement.
It's not deeded.
It is deeded. It's not a deed.
surveyed.
It's not a deed. It's an easement. So it's a recorded easement against the property that allows for a road to go through that section of the property.
And you've never used it.
We haven't used it.
Right. Okay, so again, just help me with some details here. It's been surveyed.
I believe so. My memory is
Well,
that
you
it
have the
was.
legal description.
We do have a legal description. Yes.
And so that has been recorded with
Correct.
the county.
Correct.
It's on the plat.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
So going back, what we're asking for at this point in time is that we delay the bypass road. Really, as I've discussed with many of you in the past, the interlocal and the extensions were signed in very different circumstances from where we're at today. I am not sure, and maybe Bart could update us on where traffic patterns are at on Center Street. I don't know if you have counts at this point in time, but I'm 100% sure that they're nowhere near where we expected them to be today. At the time we came in and began this process in 2005, we expected to have red ledges approved and sold out somewhere between 2018 and 2020. traffic impacts coming out of Red Ledges.
But you have about a third of what we're in.
We have about a third sold and about a 12th of the homes built. And you drive around Red Ledges right now and there's no traffic. There's no traffic in it's extremely low. So there's no reason to build a bypass road at this point in time. There's no community benefit to it. There's no benefit to Red Ledges. There's no benefit to the county or anybody else. So our feeling is that we should put this off for more time. And I've been able to discuss that with some of you. I have to say that going through this process and getting some of the pushback that I've gotten about Red Ledges not doing the bypass road is really kind of surprising. I don't know of any other developer who's been required to do as much as we've done in the community. And we've been happy to do it because we are a member of the community. We want to be here for a long time. I plan to live here the rest of my life if I can. Hopefully, Red Ledges doesn't finish too quickly and I can do this and I have made this my home. And Red Ledges has felt like we've been a good partner with the community. We've done many things and talked to you about some of those, including $4.5 million under the programs given for the recreation center and other recreation facilities within the county. So I get a little bit defensive because I don't see an Ivory Homes or an Edge Homes or a Stone Creek or anybody else who's developing coming in and making these types of commitments to the community. And so I don't believe where there is no issue of not doing the county right now, that's a hardship on anyone. I also get a little offended when I hear from certain people within the city who believe that I should come in and build a bypass road to benefit another business. This bypass road was never imagined, and there's nothing mentioned in the interlocal agreement about Red Ledges coming in to build something to benefit another business. I think I'm being asked to do something that would be compared to asking all of these good people here to build a building so a new business could come in and run a business. I don't think anybody in this room would want to do that. I don't think it's the right of government to push someone to put money into somebody else's business for their benefit and their profit. Again, the interlocal agreement was imagined and brought up so that it could be a community benefit for all the users when the time is right. And so far that time has not come. I think in talking to some members on the council, I've heard some good ideas of possibly putting off the time that this is built until the road goes in. I guess if we were to look at the map again. Until the road goes in through the expansion of the cemetery property and through the Bassett property. If that road was going in, then I think that would be a good time for everybody to step up and go that road. I think that's fair for all, and I think that is what would really allow for a good community benefit. That's our thought and proposal, and I'm open for any questions.
I was thinking about, not a road, but maybe go back to the issue of a water line easement. We have two subdivisions plus Valley Hills. It's a critical piece needs to get put into the city system, that easement to get that water line in. What's your feelings and thought about the city granting the right to that easement now so we can put that water line in?
We're very open to granting that easement at any time. We've always considered that something that we would be happy to do. But we feel like we're getting so much pressure from certain people that we need to work out all of these items and details all at the same time. I think it makes sense to, instead of piecemealing things, to just come up with one agreement and do it all at the same time.
I'd probably like to keep separated the easement and the road between the two, but that line needs to go in probably by next year, what we need to, why the city's services with it.
We're happy to sign an agreement, an extension, and do this next week. I could do that for you.
concern that if you're saying the bypass road shouldn't be built until another developer does their job, we're having issues with you and other developers right now, and I don't really want to add on another developer to make anything contingent upon that in the future. You know, I'm just saying, can we get that water line easement deeded to the city so that some work can be done there and it be restored back to original condition as it is right now, but we need that water line to go in. So is it possible just to get the water line easement?
Unfortunately, ownership has not given me the authority to do that yet. I think it's the CEO mentality. It's they want to get everything wrapped up, and for them, it's all about surety and make sure that everything is done correctly and right. And so I've not been given the authority to do that. I think we need to work all of this out. And again, I think we can do it in very short order. I think we can come up with a compromise that works for everybody and get something started.
So are they still open to the offer that they made previously, or what are they thinking at this time?
Well, possibly. We need to discuss that a little more. What I've been discussing with them lately has been more along the lines of something where the other pieces go in, we would start to build our piece at that point in time as well.
And we appreciate that, but I hope you can see my concern. You know, we're having trouble getting two developers to work together. Now why add in a third to try to work together on this issue? It just is too many balls for this particular deal. And we'd really like to just separate it out and just get the water line easement as soon as possible. With, you know, of course, a surety to you that your land would be restored to original condition.
Sure. Again, I can't make any commitments on
The ownership sounds like ownership saying they would rather include the language specifying when the bypass should be built with the easement rather than separate. And you're saying they'd be prepared to do that next week.
Sure.
Now, it's also my understanding there's still some issue between agreements with yourself and Stone Creek regarding retention ponds, some kind of connecting points to the property that was part of the contractual agreement between two organizations. What is Red Ledge's viewpoint on those issues? Are you aware of those issues? Is that?
I'm aware of those issues. I've been in multiple meetings regarding those issues. I can't tell you when it was, but I would guess it was 3 to 4 months ago. We had a meeting with our attorneys, their attorneys, Stone Creek principals, and ourselves, and offered some thoughts and ideas on that. And we were supposed to get a proposal back, and I still haven't heard anything back from Stone Creek on any of those discussions. So we're just waiting to hear from them on what they want to do on those items.
Well, do any of those items interfere with the water line easement?
No, I don't believe so.
Would you be objective if we had staff put a letter together requesting the easement from you and pass it on to the owners to let them decide what they'd like to do?
I can accept that, but I guarantee that they'll come back and ask, well, can we get this whole
We'd like to probably just make a formal request to see what management would like to do with it. Mr. Mumford, you've been very involved. Is there anything, Mr. Mumford, you'd like to add to this conversation? So I'll probably ask staff to put together a request for the easement for that water line, and let you get mine forwarded to Mr. Burns, and let them resolve it, so they'd like to look at it.
I'd be happy to hold it out.
Would we want to include a letter including a proposal for the bypass as well?
I think this time I would prefer just to keep it separated still, and then just...
I don't know if you've talked to the rest of the council. I mean, I have no problem proposing getting this done, including both coming out both language that would give them a date, not a date, but a time frame based on the road being built, as well as the easement, and propose that as well. If they're ready to sign by next week, I don't see why we can't.
We'll take the rest of the council.
I had already too. When you talk about the whole thing, you're talking about the road and
Yes, sir.
nothing else.
Correct. Yeah, that's really, that's,
I feel like very expensive.
Mayor, just a couple thoughts. This is just a work meeting, and there would have to be a formal action of the council to approve any amendment to the interlocal agreement that Todd mentioned between residents of Heber City, Twin Creeks, and Wasatch County. And so, with the council not scheduled to meet until the 7th of January, I don't think you could have a formal action on that. It still require approval by those other parties. I guess if the council wanted to entertain that thought, I would hope that it wouldn't be conditioned on having approval from those other two parties to that agreement as a condition of getting the easement. Because that'll take additional time as well. And then when we can't guarantee that they'll be accepting of that proposed amendment. I've talked with Mike Davis, and he gives me the impression because it's a city issue that he thinks the county would likely support that, but until that action's taken, it's still somewhat unknown.
I've had the same discussions with Mike Davis, and he said he'd be supportive of it. So I believe it would not be an issue.
I don't have any issues personally and making building the road contingent upon the Richie Bassett property going through with their road and Heber City Road in there.
We're just adding to the complexity of never getting this done. If the more players we bring into this, it's already complex enough between you and Stone Creek, it seems.
You know, I don't know that you are, because I know under the master plan, they have the road plan through there. I mean, again, my understanding was they need that road for the development that they're doing as well. So I would think if it's in their development agreement, subdivision agreement, whatever the case may be, then that's a road that's being approved. That's really not added to what that road is.
I'd probably prefer that the city portion of that not be a part of that, because Valley Hills Drive temporarily could serve as a connecting point. It's not ideal for the people of Valley Hills, but there are several things that will have to happen for the city to be able to get that road built, and one's probably a $1 million grant from the small urban. We own the land, but we don't necessarily have the resources readily available to construct a roadway on it. So,
I haven't seen any of the data from the studies, and I know that we probably don't have a current study, but I can't see, just from my personal living near there, that there is such a demand for an alternative from Mill Road to get from Center Street up to the point where that road is going to come out. I can't see a traffic demand of it right now. I can't see who would be hurt if we delay this road, whether it's a number of years, like they originally proposed, or whether it's tied to something else. I don't have a problem with that. Almost the contrary, it seems like if we add a road and have to maintain it and resurface it sooner than we need, it's an additional burden on the city with not that much benefit because we just don't have the traffic demand.
We'd like to support us to be able to combine the two agreements together, the easement and the road. Have staff work on some type of agreement put together with you, and then maybe we'll get back from the council